I sat up all night sewing curtains for their new house, thinking it would make them happy. My daughter-in-law ripped them down and said, "We don't want your help. Don't come back here again." My son just watched as she threw them in the trash, my hands still raw from the needle. I raised Cody by myself after his dad left. We lived in Wichita, Kansas, in a rental duplex on the east side, nothing fancy. I was 27 when my husband walked out. One minute we were arguing about bills, the next minute, he packed his truck and drove off. I still remember the sound of that engine fading while Cody played with his little fire truck on the porch. Cody was 5. He cried a little that first night, but I told him everything was going to be okay. I said it like I believed it, even though I didn't. I worked 2 jobs after that, daytime waitress at a diner off Central Avenue, then office cleaning at night. Some days, I slept 4 hours. I missed school plays, teacher conferences, birthdays. But I made sure he had food, warm clothes, and a bed to sleep in. I gave up everything for him. When Cody was in high school, he started pulling away a bit. Normal teenager stuff. He didn't want to talk much, didn't want hugs in front of his friends. I didn't take it personal. He was growing up. He had dreams. He got a scholarship to a small university near Kansas City. I was so proud I could have burst. First time he brought Marla home, I knew she didn't like me. She didn't say anything rude out loud. But her face said it all. She looked at the living room like it smelled. She wouldn't sit down until Cody wiped crumbs off the couch. I offered her coffee, she said she only drank almond milk lattes. I offered her a blanket because it was cold, she said she had sensitive skin and certain fabrics irritated her. I made a turkey and mashed potatoes from scratch. She barely touched the plate. After dinner, I tried to connect with her. Asked about her major, her hobbies, her family. She gave short answers, no questions back. I chalked it up to nerves. I figured maybe she wasn't used to people like me. They got married 2 years later. She planned the whole thing in Boulder, where she grew up. I didn't get to help. I was told where to be and when, like I was some distant relative they barely remembered. Her mother, Elaine, gave me a pity smile at the reception and said, "I guess it's nice that Cody had you around growing up." Like I was some babysitter they hired years ago. After the wedding, I kept trying to stay involved. I made them a scrapbook of Cody's childhood, pictures, old report cards, funny notes he'd written me when he was little. I wrapped it in ribbon and brought it to their apartment one weekend. She left it sitting on the kitchen counter for weeks, never even opened it. Eventually, I saw it in a stack of junk mail near their back door. That's when I stopped making big gestures. I just visited, brought food, helped clean when I could. Marla always looked annoyed when I came over, but Cody still hugged me at the door, still thanked me under his breath. That was enough for me. Then they bought a house in Overland Park. I thought maybe this would be the thing that helped. A new start. A new place to offer support. I asked if I could help paint or decorate. Marla said they were hiring professionals. I offered to help clean. She said they'd already hired a company. I asked if they needed anything for the kitchen. She said, "We have a registry." I felt useless. Unwanted. So I went home and did the one thing I knew how to do well, I sewed. My mother taught me when I was 9. It's the only thing I ever enjoyed just for myself. I used to make little blankets for Cody's toys when he was a toddler. When he was older, I'd sew patches onto his jeans when they ripped at the knees. I had some soft yellow fabric with little green vine patterns in my craft bin. I imagined them brightening up the kitchen window. I stayed up late for 3 nights in a row, sewing and ironing. My hands cramped. My eyes ached. But I didn't stop. It was the first thing I'd done in a long time that felt like it came from my heart. Saturday morning, I packed the curtains into a clean box and drove the 3 hours to Overland Park. I didn't call first, I wanted it to be a surprise. Marla opened the door in yoga pants and a robe. She looked me up and down like I'd tracked mud in with me. "I made something," I said, holding up the box. "Curtains. For the kitchen." I thought. Before I could finish, she sighed and stepped outside, closing the door behind her. "We don't need that," she said flat. "I told you not to keep bringing stuff." I opened the box a little, just so she could see the fabric. She pulled the whole box from my arms and walked straight past me to the big trash bin near the driveway. She opened it and dropped the whole thing inside like it was garbage. My hands were still raw from where I'd pricked myself sewing the hems. Cody had come to the doorway. He just stood there, arms crossed, watching. He didn't say a word. He didn't stop her. Didn't ask me to come inside. Didn't even look at me with anything close to love. I stared at the trash can, at my work, and my stomach dropped. I couldn't move. My ears were ringing. Marla stepped back and wiped her hands on her robe. "Please don't just show up again," she said. "We need space." I didn't answer. I just walked to my car. My hands shook the whole drive back to Wichita. I didn't cry until I got home. Then I sat in the garage, in the dark, and let it all out. Everything I'd held in. The years of being ignored, talked down to, pushed out, I felt it explode all at once. They made me feel like I didn't matter. Like I was nothing. That was the moment something broke inside me. I decided I wouldn't let it go this time. The Monday after that happened, I stayed home from work. I told my boss I was sick, but the truth is, I just didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want anyone to ask how my weekend went. I didn't want to see people smiling or joking or pretending like life was normal. I cleaned the house instead. Top to bottom. Scrubbed baseboards, rearranged the pantry, even washed the walls. I think I just needed to feel like I still had control over something. That someone appreciated what I did, even if it was just me. By Thursday, I got an email. Not a call. Not a visit. An email. From Cody. "Mom, I know you're upset. But Marla and I need boundaries. It's our house now. We're building our life. Please respect that. I appreciate everything you've done for me. But this is what being an adult means. Love, Cody." No mention of the curtains. No apology. No, "Sorry she threw them out," or "We could have handled it better." Just a reminder that I was supposed to stay in my place. On the outside, looking in. That night I opened a bottle of wine. I'm not a drinker. But I was mad. Mad at her for treating me like garbage. Mad at him for not defending me. Mad at myself for ever thinking things would be different. I called my sister-in-law Patty. She lives over in Salina, and we talk now and then. I told her everything, every word Marla said, every look Cody gave me. Patty got real quiet. Then she said something that stuck in my head. "You know what's funny," she said. "Elaine, Marla's mother, was just at the garden club last week bragging about how they're getting all this free help fixing up the new house. Said something about your son pulling money from your retirement fund. Is that true?" I felt like someone dumped ice water down my back. "What?" I asked. "What retirement fund? Didn't Cody ask you to co-sign something last year?" she asked. "Some kind of home loan?" "Yes. He had. He said it was temporary. That he and Marla needed better credit to get approved. That they were just using my name on paper to help qualify." I remembered the papers I signed. He said it was standard. I didn't ask too many questions. I trusted him. Turns out, I should have. That night I pulled out the paperwork from my old filing cabinet. I read every line this time. It wasn't just a co-sign. They'd taken out a second mortgage using my name. On my house. The house I'd almost paid off. I stared at the paper until my vision blurred. My hand started shaking so bad I had to sit down. He'd lied. Flat out lied. Used my trust. Put my home, at risk for her house. The one I wasn't welcome in. The betrayal hit me like a freight train. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I paced the house all night thinking about it. Remembering every little moment that felt off over the last year. Every weird text from Cody. Every short call. Every vague explanation. They'd used me. Like I was just a tool to get what they wanted. And now, I was tossed aside like those curtains. I made an appointment with a lawyer the next day. He told me it was worse than I thought. They hadn't just used my name. They'd leveraged my equity. If they defaulted or stopped paying, I could lose my house. I sat there shaking while the lawyer explained my options. He looked sorry for me. That was the worst part. I was tired of people looking sorry for me. I wanted them to feel sorry. I wanted them to feel what I felt, lied to, tricked, humiliated. I asked what I could do. The lawyer said the smartest move was to protect myself first. Get the loan separated. Remove my name, if possible. But that would take time. It would require proof. That's when I started documenting everything. Every message. Every email. Every bank statement. I started digging. And what I found made my blood boil. Marla had opened credit cards in Cody's name. Maxed out 2 of them. There were charges from designer boutiques, high-end salons, a trip to Cabo they never told me about. Thousands and thousands of dollars. And Cody? He wasn't working. He told me he was a project manager at a tech firm. That was a lie too. He'd quit 6 months ago. He was helping Marla with her influencer brand while living off loans and credit. That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with a family issue. I was dealing with a slow-moving disaster. And I was right in the middle of it. I knew I couldn't fix them. But I could stop protecting them. And I could start fighting back. A week after I found out about the loan and the credit cards, I showed up unannounced at Cody's house. I didn't knock. I stood at the end of the driveway until Marla opened the front door and spotted me. Her fake smile dropped off her face like someone cut the strings. "What are you doing here?" she snapped. "Where's Cody?" I asked. My voice didn't shake. I made sure of that. She crossed her arms. "He's busy. I'll wait." I stood there, arms at my sides, in full view of the neighbors. I wanted her to feel uncomfortable. I wanted her to squirm. A few minutes later, Cody came out, looking like a boy who'd just gotten called to the principal's office. "Mom, can we not do this here?" he muttered. "Oh, we're doing this exactly here," I said. "I need answers." Marla tried to cut in. "You're making a scene," I turned to her, sharp and cold. "I wasn't talking to you." That shut her up. She glared but stepped back. I looked Cody in the eye. "You lied to me. About the house loan. About your job. About everything. I saw the statements. The credit cards. Cabo? Seriously?" His face went pale. I kept going. "You didn't just use my name. You took from me. You put my house on the line so she could play dress up on Instagram." "Mom, you don't understand." "No," I snapped. "You don't. I spent 30 years working for everything I have. You gave it away like it meant nothing." He looked down. Marla rolled her eyes and muttered something under her breath. That's when I said it. "I talked to a lawyer. That got their attention. I know what you did. And I'm fixing it. One way or another. But don't worry, I'm not here to ask for anything anymore." Then I got in my car and left. 2 hours later, I got a message from Marla. "If you go through with this, we'll never speak to you again. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I texted back. That already happened the second you threw my curtains in the trash. 2 weeks later, I went to the county records office to check on something the lawyer mentioned. He said if they filed anything else using my name, I needed to know fast. While I was there, the clerk, an older man who looked like he'd rather be fishing, raised an eyebrow and asked, "Maureen Sullivan? You filed the lien on the Overland Park property, right?" I froze. "What lien?" I asked. He turned the screen around. There it was. My name. On a lien against their house. Filed by someone named Jack Templeton. I didn't know the name, but my stomach dropped. When I got home, I did some digging. Jack Templeton was a contractor. Ran a small business installing high-end kitchen fixtures. Had a small team, mostly family. According to the website, he had a reputation for honest work and quick turnarounds. I called him. "Hi, I'm Maureen Sullivan," I said. "I think we've both been tricked by the same two people." He sighed so hard into the phone I felt it. "You related to Cody Sullivan?" "I'm his mother." "Then yeah," he said. "We've got a problem." Turns out Cody and Marla had hired him months ago to redo their kitchen. New cabinets, backsplash, stove hood, the works. He did the job. They paid the deposit, then ghosted him on the final payment. $18,400. He tried calling, emailing. No response. So he filed a lien to force the issue. "You're on the paperwork," he said. "Because the loan that paid for the remodel was under your name too. I assumed you were involved." I nearly choked. "No," I said. "They didn't tell me anything about that." He was quiet for a minute. Then he said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. They're gonna drag you down with them if you're not careful." I hung up and sat at the table for hours. Everything was unraveling. And now I was financially tied to fraud, theft, and lies. I thought about calling Cody. Screaming at him. Threatening him. But instead, I called the lawyer again. "Let's go nuclear," I said. We filed a fraud claim. Then I pulled my credit reports and started the long process of separating myself from everything they touched. That meant freezing accounts. Filing disputes. Sending certified letters. Every day after work, I sat at my desk with a stack of folders, highlighters, and a notebook. I wasn't just cleaning up a mess. I was building a case. That's when I got the email from Elaine, Marla's mother. She asked if we could talk. I said fine. We met at a coffee shop halfway between Wichita and Boulder. I got there early. I wasn't nervous, I was ready. Elaine showed up looking tired. No makeup, no fake smile. Just a tired woman in a wool coat. She sat down, took one look at me, and said, "I didn't raise her like this." I didn't respond. She continued. "I just found out she used your name for credit. You know she did the same thing to her grandmother, right? Took out a payday loan using her social security number. It almost got her put in a nursing home." I blinked. "You're joking." She shook her head. "We didn't find out until it was too late. But we covered it up to protect her." I leaned back. "She doesn't change," Elaine said softly. "She just changes targets." There it was. The truth I'd been trying to ignore. Cody wasn't just married to someone who didn't like me. He was married to someone dangerous. And now I knew what I had to do. After the meeting with Elaine, I drove home with my hands gripping the wheel so tight I could barely feel my fingers. She had no reason to lie. If anything, she seemed ashamed. Like a woman who'd been through it before and was trying to warn the next person before it was too late. I didn't sleep that night. I sat up and made copies of everything, loan documents, lien records, credit card bills, even old texts and voicemails. I made 4 sets. One for me, one for my lawyer, one for the police, and one for Cody. It was time he saw everything laid out in front of him. No more, you don't understand. No more hiding behind Marla. The next morning, I drove up to Overland Park again. I didn't call first. I didn't knock this time either. I rang the bell, and when Marla opened the door, she rolled her eyes and muttered, "You again?" I shoved the folder into her hands. "This is for Cody," I said. "Give it to him. And tell him it's the last thing he'll ever get from me unless he wakes up." I turned to walk away. She laughed, actually laughed. "You're pathetic," she called after me. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. Because I already knew what was coming next. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Cody. Not a text. Not an email. A real phone call. His voice was shaking. "Mom. I didn't know." "You signed the papers," I said flat. "You used my name. You either knew, or you didn't care." I thought she was handling it. She said everything was covered. I trusted her. "She forged your signature on one of the credit cards," I said. "Did you know that?" Silence. I didn't want to believe it, he finally said. I stayed quiet. I wanted him to sit in the shame. I wanted it to stick. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I don't know what to do." I did. Here's what happened over the next 3 months. The lawyer filed a formal complaint with the bank and mortgage company. We provided evidence that I was misled and never approved the equity loan that funded their kitchen remodel. The case was strong, thanks to Jack Templeton's lien and Cody's written statement admitting he didn't understand the paperwork. The bank began investigating. Their risk team took it seriously once they saw the fake signatures. Then we filed a fraud report with the police. That triggered something bigger. Because guess what? Marla had opened credit lines in more names than just mine and Cody's. She'd taken out a store card in her cousin's name. A car lease in a friend's name. The woman was running a slow burn scam across half a dozen people. The police launched a case. Quiet at first. Then it grew. Marla was arrested 4 weeks later for identity theft and fraud. Cody called me sobbing. I didn't know what she was doing. She said she was fixing everything. I didn't comfort him. He'd chosen her over and over again. And even if he didn't commit the crimes, he let them happen. He looked the other way when it was easier. But I still gave him one chance. I told him, if you want to rebuild your life, you start with the truth. All of it. You help the police. You testify. You return what you can. And you don't lie, not once, not even to protect her. To his credit, he did. He turned in the fake bank statements she had hidden on a USB drive in their bedroom drawer. He gave the police her burner phone. Showed them messages. Emails. Every account he could access. And when the trial came, he testified. Marla cried in court. Said she never meant to hurt anyone. Blamed her parents. Blamed stress. Blamed depression. The jury didn't buy it. She was sentenced to 5 years. The judge even said she was a charming and dangerous manipulator who used marriage and family as tools to steal. I didn't cheer. I didn't clap. I just felt done. Finally. Cody moved back to Wichita after the sentencing. He's living in a 1-bedroom near the park now. Works part-time for a landscaping crew. Trying to build his life back from scratch. He asked to move in with me. I told him no. Not because I don't love him. But because love doesn't mean letting someone hurt you twice. He comes by every Sunday now. Helps mow the yard. We talk, slowly. Carefully. It'll never go back to the way it was. And maybe that's okay. Because some lessons have to cost something. As for me, I got my name cleared from the house loan. The mortgage company ruled in my favor. I still have my home. My savings took a hit, but I'm secure. And those yellow curtains? I made another set. I didn't send them to anyone. They hang in my own kitchen now. Right above the sink. And every time the morning light comes through them, I remember the woman I used to be, the one who let people walk all over her in the name of family. She's gone now. I don't sew for other people anymore. But I still sew. Just for me.